Last-ditch talks between Britain and the European Union to seal a Brexit deal went on into the early hours, but without news of a breakthrough. Talks will resume today, but the EU's chief negotiator had said that if agreement couldn't be reached on Tuesday, it would be too late for leaders to approve anything at Thursday's Brussels summit.
If the deal can't be done today or tomorrow in advance of the summit, well then the leaders will have to decide what kind of mandate they want to give Michel Barnier. And obviously the UK side will have to respond as well as to how to proceed.
There's been speculation that the main sticking point, the Irish Northern Ireland frontier, could be resolved by a possible customs border in the Irish Sea. But the DUP, whose support is vital to the UK government in getting a deal approved in Parliament, were not enthusiastic.
Well, it's not that we're trying to be negative around any of this. It's a principle that we have, a principle that has always been there, and the principle that will forever be there. We have to be integrally within the United Kingdom.
Deal or no deal for the summit, EU officials believe another delay to Britain's departure date is still likely. That's something that Prime Minister Boris Johnson intends to avoid at all costs, despite legislation saying otherwise. Paul Ging, Euronews.
I think that they will probably, well, both sides will probably ensure that, this is going to be an agreement that everybody can pass and support. The triumphalism, I think people are trying to eradicate. I don't think anyone wants to say that one side made major concessions. We heard from Michel Barnier yesterday morning. It was very significant when he came into the General Affairs Council and was optimistic. I mean, he's not a man, he's incredibly circumspect, but he believed, and having spoken to, again, EU sources, that the reason for that optimism was because the UK acknowledged that there could be no customs borders on the island of Ireland, that essentially they would have to be there on the Irish Sea. And one other point I'd say as well is a lot of the fears from EU sources, Brexit sources, in the last few hours, late last night, was actually more centred then on whether or not Boris Johnson could get this over the line in the House of Commons because it was so politically sensitive.
People in Boris Johnson's cabinet say that they are confident that they do have the numbers to get a deal like this over the line. But of course, Boris Johnson does not have even the slim majority that Theresa May has. So therefore, he needs to gain a lot more votes than he can reliably count upon. There is a showdown looming because if Boris Johnson does not have a ratified deal in place by this Saturday, then the law says, as per a vote by MPs here a few weeks ago, the law says he has to seek an extension from the European Union beyond October 31st. He continues to say that he won't do that. So might that be the moment when the opposition parties put their differences aside over who might lead an alternative unity government and actually do something about it?
To have an integral part of the United Kingdom somehow hived off, a border put into the Irish Sea, even though Northern Ireland, 75% of its exports go to mainland UK. It ultimately, to a degree, separates Northern Ireland, a part of the United Kingdom, from the rest of mainland Britain.